In today's fragmented media landscape, nothing drives results like local media, and Locality is proving it. Locality's LocalX platform is redefining local video advertising by centralizing premium streaming solutions into a simple, data-driven workflow. LocalX puts real-time planning, scalable reach, and measurable results at your fingertips. Discover how LocalX makes planning local media fast, easy, and intuitive at locality.com/localx.
Hi, I'm Erica Berlin, contributing editor at Ad Age Studio 30. Welcome to a special edition of Ad Age's Marketer's Brief podcast. As the advertising landscape shifts, driven by AI, automation, and identity-based measurement, local advertising has become one of the most effective ways for brands of all sizes to reach the audiences that matter most. Today's marketers need speed, intelligence, and connected data, and platforms like LocalX are helping lead this transformation by enabling advertisers to plan, buy, and measure local broadcast and streaming in one intelligent workflow. With real-time insights and unified data, LocalX empowers agencies and partners to maximize impact with confidence. In this episode, we're joined by Zach Mullins, Chief Strategy Officer at Locality, to explore what's driving the next era of local advertising and how platforms like LocalX are paving the way. Now, here's my conversation with Zach. For those in our audience who may not be familiar with LocalX, can you tell us a little bit about the platform and your role at Locality?
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm Zach Mullins, Chief Strategy Officer at Locality. My job is to help figure out how we advance the local ad buying ecosystem by working with a variety of agencies, advertisers, and other partners, obviously focused on the local space. Part of what we envision as part of that is a platform and data to help empower those constituencies the right way. And so that's really where LocalX was designed to build scale, intelligence, and focus on results. And it's really a next generation media buying platform. So the idea was pull it all together in one to simplify how local campaigns are planned, how they're bought, how they're optimized and measured over time. So it's been a fun project to sort of pull together and start working on.
Why was LocalX developed, and what problem does it solve for advertisers?
Yeah, so I think when we look at the local adscape, one of the things that we've found is that there is increasing complexity and fragmentation across all kinds of local ad buying. And so what we really identified was there was a need to pull together all of these multiple systems, right? There are walled gardens you want to operate in. Sometimes there's omni-channel inventory. It's just all of these different individual components and a variety of DSPs. You can have direct inventory sources. And then we need to layer in measurement on top of that as well to prove the efficacy of the ads and if they're actually working to drive a local result. And so for LocalX, it was about how do we assemble all of this together, break down the silos in workflow, and start to tie together a almost like lightweight CRM, a workflow tool, ad buying platform, planning, all of those components together into one environment so that advertisers, agencies can really go faster and leverage AI, leverage data, leverage different tools to help pull the pieces together, have a really comprehensive view, and then execute that in a really streamlined way all the way through the process.
So how do platforms like LocalX improve access to and use of campaign data for advertisers?
Yeah, so I think it's really designed with the ultimate in flexibility in mind. And so when you think about LocalX, it is kind of designed to be modular in the sense of you can deploy it how, where you want it to go. So that might be on one campaign, I'm just running one inventory source and it's pretty simple from an execution standpoint. While on others, it might be a true omni-channel campaign where there are multiple different types of deployments that I have to look at. And I need to bring in data to inform or even target those campaigns the right way. And so our approach with LocalX was, again, put everything in one environment, really help to be transparent across where the inventory is running, how the impressions are being delivered, what that reach and frequency and performance looks like, and starts to drive back in really some more actionable insights and intelligence of what I should be doing and what I can be doing as a part of this campaign, ultimately focused on driving the outcomes. Because at the end of the day, the reason we're targeting local is to drive a better outcome for our brand, our message that we're trying to deliver in a local community, in a local space. And so by creating that sort of unification at scale, we're now able to do that much more effectively in local markets, which is really the purpose behind it.
And now we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Simplify your local media planning with Locality's LocalX, the only platform that centralizes local streaming planning and buying into one powerful interface. LocalX offers real-time status tracking, cross-platform attribution, and geo-targeted insights, helping advertisers cut through the noise and connect with local viewers at scale. LocalX is where local meets scale, intelligence, and results. Visit locality.com/localx.
And we're back. Zach, what sets LocalX apart from other media planning platforms in the market?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the thing that really started our vision on LocalX was about how do we start with a local first approach. So that's really what we did. We call it, purpose built for local. And while many platforms from a widely available standpoint have really a focus on a national perspective and try to localize that through geography or otherwise afterwards, we really built LocalX from the ground up to focus on what we know to be true in a lot of these different campaigns. So Locality for a long time has operated obviously in the streaming and broadcast TV space, and we work, across all markets across the United States. And so we've taken a lot of those learnings that we've deployed for many years and instilled those learnings of what we know works in certain local markets inside of the environment as well. And so that allows us, from a technology perspective, to do the right kind of targeting and activation that we might need. It helps us better curate and focus on the inventory deployment that makes sense. And so, for example, we know that somebody in New York is very different than a consumer in LA, right? And so we have to better refine and target not only the content they might be watching, the platforms they might be watching on, but also the audience insights and targeting to be able to deploy that message the right way as well. And so by really piecing together the insights about how and where to target the ads, the inventory that we know that they're watching as well, and also even the actual ad deployment itself, right? Customizing the creative to resonate more closely with the local market versus just one message that runs in a RON perspective across the entire US. All of those help point back to creating more effectiveness for the ad delivery and measurement on the back end. And so when you take that from a workflow standpoint, and then you start to add in a bunch more, the measurement components on top of that through things like ACR, it really helps to give us a better cross-platform view of how we're impacting that local in marketplace and how we're impacting that local advertisers core audience that we're trying to serve to. So I think by pulling all of the inventory together, not only just the inventory, but also the measurement components, and also layering that in a way that is purposely built for local, I think that's really what sets LocalX apart, because it gives us more flexibility and more purpose-driven sort of outcomes of what we're trying to solve for.
Where do you see LocalX heading next, and how will it shape the future of local advertising?
Yeah, so I think when we look forward, we are a video first company. That's where we got our roots. That's where we were founded. We've grown substantially in that realm. I think we see a pathway where, we're converging more data, insights, and planning into that environment as well, because we want to work smarter and harder for the customer of where and how we can deploy those ads the right way. And I think if we are really technology enabled and then data driven, that gives us the right kind of focus to be able to really optimize the campaigns the right way. But in our view, we have to do that in a way that's very easy to use and intuitive in that environment. So as we shape the future of what LocalX is, it probably does become more omnichannel. It does have more insights and automation. It has more of the AI recommendations or sort of AI support inside of that to help us move faster, right? We already deploy and have, automated AI line generation. We already have creative generation built into the platform. But how do we take that to the next level to better integrate and deploy audiences and insights and data in a way that makes it a lot richer for the advertiser, the agency to really resonate with the consumer the right way? So I think for us, it's about, making local media easier to buy. Inherently, local can be complex. It's, there are a lot of communities across the country, and to figure out how to target your ad the right way can become very burdensome very fast. And so to do that at scale, that's really the future of LocalX. And how do we use that as our driving mission across AI, across all these other tools to help sort of bring that together and create a more comprehensive approach?
All right, that's all the time we have. Zach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
That was Zach Mullins, Chief Strategy Officer at Locality. I'm Erica Berlin, Contributing Editor at Ad Age Studio 30. Special thanks to our producer, Lauren Chiardio, and to you, our listeners. Be sure to subscribe to the Marketer's Brief podcast on your favorite player. We promise to keep it brief, or at least short enough to finish before your next meeting. Thanks for tuning in.
Marketer's Brief listeners get $40 off an adage.com subscription. Sharpen your marketing edge and visit adage.com/brief for your discount.